Okay, so we're working on the Studebaker here. I am currently trying to put a cruise control module in. It's cable throttle body. Everything's working on this. If it was drive-by-wire, completely different setup. It'd be just adding wires because it'd all be set in there. So I pulled this cruise control module off that truck. I stopped driving it because the fuel leak is getting pretty bad. It leaks a couple of gallons per mile. So saved myself a trip to a junkyard. I got the cruise control module there. This bracket is where the normal cable would mount. So this would be cruise and this would be the throttle. But I have another bracket set back. This is how I had it originally. That bracket is longer for the throttle cable. It's been like that for years and it's been fine. So I just slid another one in there, and so this is in the proper spot for that. This hole is slightly different than this one, so I might pull the throttle body off the other truck because I just put the caliper on there and it's like 3 millimeters different. I could probably drill this out, but I don't know if the clip here would affect it, so I might just swap throttle bodies, and I might just have to program the throttle position sensor, but I don't even think that's too critical. I got the plug out of here, and so if you look at the plug, it's gonna be really hard to see. That's A, B, C, D, and E. And then on the bottom side, if you're looking at it like this, you would just flip it like that, and then it goes F, G, H, J, K. So I have the colors written here. I have what it does. So we have cruise on, we have set cruise, resume, we have to the brake switch, we have a ground, we have a key 12 volt, we have the other side of the brake switch. This would be the tail light side. This one's not used, there's not even a spot for it. This would be do a dash indicator light to tell you, like an LED to come on. I'm going to figure out if that's positive or negative. I'm going to assume it's ground fired, so it would need a positive on the other side of the LED for it to come on. And then this would be vehicle speed sensor in, so off the computer you would just need to tie in the speed sensor. So I'm going to take this, 6 of these wires are going to go into the side of the cab, the 3 for the cruise control, the set, the on, and the resume, as well as the 2 brake switches and the dash light. I just built this thing here. This is a panel I had in the junk drawer. This is cruise on, LED light, set, resume. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to wire it in that way. I have some extra wire here. But I have 6 wire trailer wire, and I'm going to make a little diagram on these colors to that, and then on the other side of that I'm going to run to the truck. I'm going to run it to that thing. I'm going to tap power, and hopefully we can get cruise control working. That's just a brief rundown. I'm going to make a better schematic, and I'm going to draw it out better exactly of how to do it and what to use, because there's not a lot of good videos on this. Okay, I'm going to try and continue this after months after I started it. This video. I just had to figure out how to turn this camera on again. So, last clips I did a couple months ago. This is cruise control module. Plug that in. These have a certain color on the pigtail like I was showing. I have 3 wires. They're all labeled. I have diagrams I drew up. They go to what I call 3-wire. This is 3 wires in a shielded case. They're going to that side of the truck, and then this is just trailer wiring at 6 wires, and they're going to the other 6 wires on this. In a perfect world, this colors would match these, but they don't, so that's why I drew a diagram, because it can get confusing connecting different colored wires. This one is standard colors for like trailer wiring. That's going into the cab So first let's follow these 3 wires, and they're going across. It comes out here. This brown, yeah, it's brown. Hold on. Yep, brown wire. It's gonna be ground. Yellow. You could use it however you want. This is just a diagram. I'm using yellow. It's gonna be power. I went to fuse power, and it's key on power. It's switched power, switched 12 volt. And then the green wire coming out of here is going to the vehicle speed sensor on the back of the LS computer PCM. So when you're doing a standalone harness, you'll be left with a couple wires on the back of it, like tach signal, vehicle speed sensor, torque converter lockup. Don't let the mess fool you. As I clean this up a little bit, the inside's gonna be worse. Like that blue wire right here is running from the back of the computer into the cab, and that's the torque converter lockup. It goes to a brake switch. I'll show you that. So those 3 wires, power, ground, and vehicle speed sensor. So these 6 going into the cab. And this looks like a mess, I know, but it was a lot better until I added this loom here. This is for the factory turn signal. Right now I have this panel here. This was in the junk spot. This was like a push button starter. This had on off push button starter, like ricer type of stuff. So I just made it and put my own switches in there. You could do whatever. You could drill holes in your dash. But this is this thick wire here is that 6 wire, and it splits off, and I'll show you how it splits off. This here, like I said, don't pay attention to that. That is for the turn signals. I didn't have turn signals, so now I do this year. So, and then this is a light here. I'll show you what that's for in a second. But part 2 to this, if I get it working, if you never see part 2, it's because I didn't get it working. I'm gonna try to disable this switch and put the cruise functions in here. So this would be power on, resume, etc., like a factory truck. Not sure if I'll get to that. I'd like to. I had this, it's just zip tied under here. This is my temporary ground. I don't like it. And then this is the brake switch here. That's a GM standard one. I'll show you how that works. So I'll show you the diagrams. So I drew. Here's a little side note of my mess. So we have, this is obviously 1 wire split to 2. That's the 12 volt power. This is going to the taillights. This is tapped in to the taillights. This is going to that trailer light, tapped again, and then this is going from green all the way down. It's a jump wire to the white wire on this. Right? Yes, so that's going to the white wire on there. So that's what will go to the taillights. It's coming to here. So this is just giving it the resistance. This wire here is coming in, turns to a different color, and it goes back up in here, and that's going to the torque converter switch and the brown wire for this on the 6 wires. So like I said, there's going to be potentially a part 2. If there's not a part 2, I'm probably going to leave this because it works. Maybe mount it here-ish, and then the turn signals work, so I could probably lose 90% of those wires there, shorten some of this, clean it up, zip tie it up to here, and be done with it. I could probably lose that and put it out in the engine bay. That's fine. So I tried to give you as much information as I have because there wasn't too many information on this. The best video I did find was by Half-Ass Customs here on YouTube, and he made it easy enough for me to figure out if you have like a basic wiring knowledge or on GM stuff, but I think I filled in some more of the blanks and showed exactly where the wires go. If you can't figure this out, I pretty much can't help you. I tried making this as easy as possible. So okay, so these are the factory pigtail like I showed you how to read the pigtail. So with the clip on the bottom, it's actually labeled. You can see the pin spots. It'll say A, B, etc. So A, we'll just reiterate this, is a gray wire, and that functions as cruise on. B is blue, and that's set cruise on. So that'd be the set switch, and this is, so it says cruise on and then set cruise on. That's just how they have it labeled in the manual. So that would be cruise on, set. C is gray with a black stripe, and that's the resume. Pin D is brown with a white stripe, and that is TCC, so torque converter / brake switch. That's got to go to. E is black with a white stripe, that's ground. F, brown, key, 12 volt. We have a light blue wire, that's to tail light side of the switch, the brake switch, so that would go to the tail lights. And this doesn't even have a pin, that's just bumped out of there. You know, it has like a plug, so it's like doesn't exist. Blue with a black stripe is dash light, so that would be like LED light to tell you that the cruise is on or functioning. And K is green with a white stripe, and that's vehicle speed sensor in. So that's factory. Then this is now. These are the colors that we are using now, because this would be that 3-wire and that 6-wire that we're using. I tried matching the colors up as best as they can. Obviously, it's not a perfect world where the colors match. So you would think, okay, green, why wouldn't I use green for the speed sensor? Well, we're using the speed sensor, the ground, and keep power. Those are going to be separate. Alright, so then we're left with 6. So blue is now green, gray is now white, black is gray and black, so it has one of the colors the same. Brown is brown. I should match that up. You can get that 6-wire. You can, but I'm just doing this so you could see, you know, where it lines up on my end, and you could do it your way. You could run separate wires. You could run a bunch of wires like this. I just thought 6-wire trailer wire would clean it up best. You can get the perfect colors and match it up yourself. So light blue is now yellow. So I tried making this diagram. So you could screenshot this if you need to. I used orange because white doesn't show up on white paper. So you see here, it says pin A. It was gray. Now it's now white wire. But it says white and it's orange color. Pin A is actually white, bro. So we have the engine bay wires, 3 wires, green. This is the vehicle speed sensor. That's green on the back of the computer too, so kept that the same. Red is usually 12 volt, brown, black, you know, usually ground color. So I marked it black, but it's actually brown in the 3-wire. So that stays in the engine bay, or however you want to have it mounted. 6 wires. This is, like I said, for a 9902. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. It's a red, blue, big plugs on the ECM. So there'd be 2 big plugs. One would be red, one would be blue. That's 9902. So that's that. Next thing I drew up is the 6-wire. 3-wire goes to the green, the brown, so the ground, the power, and the green here. So let's work on the 6-wire now. So that would stay in the engine bay. We're going to work on the 6-wire. So we have brown D pin that goes to the torque converter switch. So follow it around, it's going into the cab. Same thing here. So this is like, you kind of don't need this one if you have this one here. So this is gray with a black stripe, and that was factory, and it goes in there. So this is just showing the factory wiring. G was light blue, now it's yellow. So all these would go into the cab if you had that. But now this is showing the colors, what they converted to. So they come in to the cab, and now these are the proper colors. So remember I said A is here, it was gray, cruise on, now it's now white, but we show it as orange. So gray comes into the truck, comes out, it's actually white, so now it's orange. So this is my switch panel. This is the switch panel I made. So, and this is the brake switch. So this is how I have it. So all these switches need a 12 volt power source. Switch power probably would work the best. So this right here, all the functions on the truck is like ground fired. So the module just needs power, everything else is ground fired. Everything on the ECU that would trigger, say, the fans, the computer does not have power to send to the ECU, it sends ground. So you would need power off a relay. The computer sends ground, triggers the fans. So we'll go back to over here where we were. So I just have a power wire, butt connect into another one. This one here goes to here, this one goes to here, goes to the battery, 12 volt fuse box, whatever you have. This one here goes to the other side of the switch. So this has power at the switch. If you flip the switch on, boop, 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 powers the module. So what do we have now? We have a red wire. What does the red wire do? You could figure this all out yourself. I'll probably just go through it. Red wire here is J. J is red now. It was this color, and that's for the dash light. So this is the light on the switch. Obviously it says light. So that's ground fired. So it gets power here. So this has, the module has ground. So it sends ground to here when it's on. It turns the light on. So you already had power from the one that we added. So the switch had power. That's how that works. So the green wire here comes out. What was green? Green is B. B was set cruise. So green comes in. That's the set button. So when you push that, it had power. It sends power to HISS, sends it to the module, sets the cruise control at the speed that you're working at. This is pin C. Pin C was black. And what did it do? Pin C was resume. Resume. So it had power from the switch on. You hit that after you hit the brake and you hit resume. It goes back to the speed that you're originally set at. So we have that goes to the switch panel. The yellow wire comes out here, which was pin G. Pin G was to the taillight side. So this is the brake switch. So it comes in. This is a GM style brake switch. So it has 2 prongs here, 2 prongs here. How this works is this always has 12 volt. This side here. When you press the brakes, this loses 12 volt. Put 12 volt here. So this goes to the brake lights. That's my brake lights. So this is key 12 volt power to here and to here. So this always has power, this always has power. This always has power to here until you press on the brakes, so it loses power. But then this one here sends power to here. So pin G ties into the brake lights here. Side note. So you have brake lights. My brake lights are LEDs. LEDs do not have enough current for it to register a difference between the on the brake switch. It doesn't have enough resistance or pull, so you need a regular incandescent bulb. I found that out the hard way. I could not get the cruise control to work. I just had a trailer light working in there, and that draws enough power to trip it and turn it on. I can't really explain it too much. It needs to see a draw of power. LED does not have that. So the trailer light will get mounted in there under the hood probably somewhere. I'll probably get a smaller one. If you have regular incandescent bulbs, with the filament, you don't have this problem. So that was a little side note there. This one here, torque converter side of the switch, is brown, pin D. pin D was TCC brake switch. It was brown and white, now it's just brown. So brown comes in to here. Also on this side, comes out, goes to the blue wire. I just marked it with a bright color. To the blue wire on the back of the PCM. It's pin 33, I have it up there. It's the lockup TCC switch is what they call it. It worked without that, but this is how the diagrams show it, so it's there. So that's that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's all of them. So hopefully that was easy enough to follow. I tried dumbing it down as best as I could. I have not tried this, and I made another diagram here. If you only have a brake switch that looks like that, you could try this. I found this diagram online. This is a normal brake switch. 12 volt comes in. This is taillights. Side light coming out of that would go to pin 85. 86 is ground. And key 12 volt. You could probably connect this and this to there. And then pin 30 goes to the back of the computer again, pin 33, which would have been like where this would have went. And pin D, the brown wire, because you wouldn't have this side here, will go to the back side of this relay, and that should make it work if you only had a regular style, not a, this is a GM style. That's actually the part number for that switch that I put in there. I did not try this. Other people have luck with this, so I will try to give you an overview of these so you could screenshot as needed. So this is a fucking mess right now, but cruise on, the light tells me it's on, set, resume, just push button, and I had to put a regular bulb in because it needs to measure resistance, and I have LED taillights, so it said fuck you and I'm not. So I just got to clean that up and put this switch over here, or I'm going to wait and I can use the stock S10, the S10 flipper with the cruise in it. I'm going to wire that in, I think, instead of that. Okay, so this is what I ended up with. Turn signals are on here. I didn't even want to bother with doing that. It was just left wiring. I couldn't even find the diagram I had anymore. Once I finished this, I actually did find it. But this was just simple. I just screwed this to it, and then I cleaned this up a little bit, put some Tesa tape on there. I can clean it up a little bit more, but it doesn't bother me any. It's still diagnosable if something happened to pop off of there. What I ended up doing, that trailer light that was in there, I just zip tied it to a bracket that is near the master cylinder, and it's fine. But that's how I did it. If you need cruise control, I hope this video helps. It should get you going. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer it, but you should be able to figure it out with those diagrams I drew up. And I think I explained it pretty well, so have a good one.